Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're digging into some really fascinating sources, uncovering a hidden piece of rock history. It involves George Harrison, right at this incredibly critical point in his life.
Yeah, it's a moment that's been sort of shrouded until now. We're talking November 1970, Deerfield Beach, Florida, of all places.
Right. Not exactly Abbey Road.
Not at all. And the timing, it's
Yeah.
crucial. The Beatles had just officially broken up, very acrimoniously just months before this. And Harrison was, well, he was basically on the verge of releasing his first massive solo statement.
And that's the big news here. We've got confirmation from the Deerfield Beach Historical Society about this secret stay. They're even planning an exhibit calling it the town's best-kept secret. An entire community kept quiet about having a Beatle in their midst.
It really tells you something about where his head was at. Think about the pressure after the Beatles split. He really needed to step back, find some quiet. The sources suggest he was just drained.
Completely understandable. After years in that Beatlemania pressure cooker, then the band tension, he needed space. Not just a holiday, but like actual peace.
Exactly. And remember, he was deeply into meditation, Indian spirituality. Deerfield Beach, this sort of quiet, breezy town, offered that chance for genuine tranquility, away from everything.
Was he alone?
No, not entirely. He had his then-wife, Patty Boyd, with him, and Mal Evans, the Beatles' longtime road manager and assistant, was there too.
Mal Evans, okay.
But the reason for South Florida wasn't random. It gave him cover. He was actually visiting family, his mom's brother and sister-in-law, Edmund and Mimi French. They lived down there in Deerfield Beach for years, from 67 to 87, apparently.
So using a family visit as the perfect camouflage.
Smart! But wait, if he wanted privacy, why not just stay with the family? The sources say he stayed somewhere else.
Right. He lodged at a place called the Shore Road Inn back then. It's now known as Pier on Deerfield Beach. Probably wanted a bit more independence, direct beach access, maybe separate from the family's daily routine. Makes sense. Get the cover, but also the personal space.
But here's the really fascinating part, the core of the secret. People did know he was there. Locals recognized him.
No way, a Beatle. In 1970. How on earth did that stay quiet for, 55 years?
It seems it came down to a direct request. He, or perhaps Mal Evans on his behalf, asked people to just let him be, to keep it quiet until he left, and they did.
Wow. Just simple respect. In the middle of Beatle-level fame.
Apparently so. Think about that. An entire town, essentially, agreeing to give him that space. A gift, really. The gift of anonymity just when he needed it most. There's even some speculation he preferred the north side of the inn near the boardwalk, trying to look like any other tourist.
Trying to blend in, while posing for photos with the neighbor's mountain lion. I saw that detail in the notes. It sounds completely wild.
Yeah, isn't that something? You escape the madness of the music world for peace and quiet. And next thing you know, there's a mountain lion next to you.
So it was real, not just some rumor.
Oh, it's confirmed. The sources say a local neighbor actually owned it and just brought it over. It's captured in some of these photos they found. Kind of sums it up, doesn't it? Even Harrison's quiet time wasn't exactly normal.
Okay, let's link this timing back to the music. Because he wasn't just chilling on the beach, was he? He was about to drop something huge.
Precisely. This Florida retreat happened right after he finished recording All Things Must Pass. This was the deep breath before the plunge, you could say.
And what a plunge. All Things Must Pass. I mean, a triple album as your first proper solo statement?
Yeah.
That's incredibly ambitious.
It really was, and packed with songs he'd written years before, songs that Lennon and McCartney had often overlooked or maybe didn't have space for on Beatles records. Isn't it a pity? What is life? Awaiting on you all? Amazing tracks.
So this album wasn't just music. It was him saying, okay, listen to me now. Stepping out from behind the Lennon-McCartney shadow.
Absolutely. It landed November 27th, 1970, just weeks after the Deerfield trip. It redefined him instantly. He wasn't just the quiet Beatle anymore. He was a major solo artist in his own right, capable of this huge, sprawling, brilliant work.
A massive statement.
Yeah.
And musically, this is where his signature sound really solidified too, right?
Yes, definitely. This slide guitar, that beautiful weeping sound that became his trademark, it's all over, All Things Must Pass. That wasn't really a feature in the Beatles' work, not his main contribution anyway.
And the spiritual themes too, that became central to his solo identity.
Exactly. The introspection, the searching. It all comes to the forefront on that album and defines so much of his later work. So this quiet period in Florida, it wasn't just rest. It feels like it was the final sort of centering moment before he launched George Harrison, the solo superstar.
Which brings us to the evidence finally coming to light. This exhibit, George was here, the best-kept secret in Deerfield Beach. It's marking the 55th anniversary. What exactly do they have?
The core of it is 18 never-before-seen photos. Images from that specific visit, capturing him relaxed, reflective. And crucially, these aren't press shots. They're personal photos, discovered in a private collection, now restored. Real glimpses.
Incredible. So for anyone listening who wants to see this history firsthand, the exhibit itself is just for a weekend, right? Friday, November 7th and Saturday, November 8th, 2025. And it's free.
That's right. It's being held at the Johnny L. Tiener Community Center. That's 435 Southwest 2nd Street in Deerfield Beach.
And they're doing more than just showing photos. There's a whole program of events around it.
Yeah, they're really making it a community thing. There's an opening night reception on the 7th with an acoustic duo called Dark Horses playing music from All Things Must Pass.
Nice touch.
And leading up to it, they've got other events, too. A screening of A Hard Day's Night back in October, a concert with a local band called Strawberry Lane.
Strawberry Lane, okay.
Yeah. And for the real history buffs, there's a lecture. A historian, Jeff Fisk, is giving a talk on November 19th about the whole discovery, the research behind it at the Old Schoolhouse.
That sounds fascinating, getting the deep dive on the deep dive.
And one other thing I thought was really touching on the opening night, there's setting up a video archivist. So locals who were around back then maybe saw him, maybe remember the buzz. Even if they kept quiet, they can record their memories.
Oh, that's fantastic, giving the story back to the people who held on to it for so long.
Exactly. It connects the whole thing back to the community that made it possible.
So when you pull it all together, this whole story,
Yeah.
it's more than just a Beatle went to Florida. It's about how this, seemingly ordinary little beach town became this crucial sanctuary.
Right. It provided the anonymity, the psychological space he needed right at that moment of massive transition. Breaking from the biggest band ever, launching a solo career. That quiet respect from the locals was maybe essential fuel for what came next.
It really makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Even for someone as documented as George Harrison, there's still these significant, quiet chapters hidden away. Moments that shaped everything, just waiting to be rediscovered.
Absolutely. History always has more layers.
So here's something to leave you with. Think about those Deerfield Beach residents back in 1970. Recognizing one of the most famous faces on Earth, knowing they had this huge story, but choosing silence. Choosing to honor a request for peace over gossip or fame for 55 years. What did that feel like? That collective act of quiet respect might just be the most remarkable part of this whole hidden history.